Hey, welcome back to our mid-season or mid-break week tiny episodes. It's like Tiny Commander,
like
but it's
mid-season episodes.
But like it's between
Or
seasons.
Between seasons, yes.
Intra-season. One of
We're
those.
interrupting our vacation to bring you more Magic content.
We could be
that's
playing-
just who we are.
We could be playing Magic right now. Anyway, we just want to talk more Magic. So last time we talked, we each brought a card. Mm-hmm. This time, essentially the same thing.
Yep.
It'll be a nice little aperitif,
It'll be
appetizer.
Boom. Just like that.
A boom.
A boom.
A boom. It's my turn. This is my episode. We're gonna talk about backgrounds. It's an enchantment
Wait, I
type.
thought we were talking about a card. And now you're going to go and talk about a whole bunch of cards.
I mean, I can choose one if you want.
30 cards. You're gonna hog 30 cards.
You want to talk about one of them?
No.
Well, really 29 because I'm not going to talk about Faceless One.
Okay. Fine.
But yeah, I mean,
All right. So what about backgrounds?
I've had very limited experience with these,
Ho ho!
which is to say zero at this point. But my own expertise here is going to kick in, and I mean, so for those who don't know, backgrounds are legendary enchantments from Commander Legends 2: Battle for Baldur's Gate, and the idea there was some of these legendary creatures in this set had the text line choose background, which meant that you could have that creature as your commander and then also a background in the command zone as well. So these two cards together would be your commanders. You can cast the background anytime you could cast an enchantment. And all of them say commander creatures you own have blank. And there's, 29 different possibilities here. But I just thought that they were really cool. And once I started thinking about them beyond their use in the command zone, I realized that they kind of work really well in the 99. Some of them are not amazing. And some of them are extremely niche. I mean, we've got Acolyte of Bahamut. For 1 and a green, commander creatures you own have the first dragon spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Which is cool if you're playing a dragon deck.
Yeah.
But because every one of them starts with commander creatures you own, means that you have to have this and your commander out. Which, not ideal, but I think that some of them have cool enough effects that essentially what you're doing is adding a line of text to your commander. And unless you are using one of the choose a background commanders,
Yeah.
you're not adding any extra color. But if it's in the 99, you're essentially just adding a line of text to your commander. Because even if somebody steals it, this says commander creatures you own. So it's not commander creatures you control, like a lot of the familiars from Commander Legends 1.
It is interesting because while commander creatures you own, you still own the card if somebody else has stolen it.
Right.
So, yeah, a card like the Cultist of the Absolute. Commander creatures you own get +3/+3, have flying, death touch, and ward, pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Well, the beginning of your upkeep now becomes the upkeep of the person who stole your creature, and that person has to sacrifice a creature.
But on the same thing, since it has ward, pay 3 life, that means if somebody steals your commander, in this case, you, as the owner of that commander, even because you're not the controller, you have to pay 3 life to target it with a spell.
Right. Sorry, I looked at a bunch of these cards. When I realized it said commander creatures you own, I started thinking about how this interacts with Assault Suit, which of course is a very niche option. But I looked at a card like I started thinking about a card like, or even not using the Assault Suit. Was it Corona?
Oh yeah,
where
the false god.
Yes, where it's essentially passed around the table. And normally, what happens is your opponents can do minimal things
Right.
with it, and then you get to do something huge. But if this is at the beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature, well, now each of your opponents are forced to sack a creature when they get control of it.
Yeah.
And you, as the controller of Corona and the one who is using the Cults of the Absolute, would know all this and be building your deck accordingly.
Yeah. So. Or, Tongarth, which is like essentially on other players' combats, it essentially joins their combat team. Say Raised by Giants. Now your creatures now the commanders that you own are 10/10s and are giants in addition to, or base powered 10/10s and giants in addition to their other types. Tongarth gets huge and is passed around the table. So then you've got things like Inspiring Leader, which is 2 and a white. Commander creatures you own have creature tokens you control get +2/+2. There are easier ways to do this Anthem than having this be in your 99. Because sure, it's an enchantment and it is harder to deal with. Nobody's going to use their enchantment removal on this because you also have to have your commander out for it to actually matter. But my favorite, and maybe it's just because it slots extremely well into Lelia, is Tavern Brawler. For 2 and a red, commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. This creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. You may play that card this turn. So it's red card draw. It makes your red creature that you probably are going to attack with bigger. With Lelia, it gives another +1/+1 counter.
I can also see like Tavern Brawler and what was the one that we were just looking at? Inspiring Leader. When you're playing with partners, I mean, for Inspiring Leader, each of your commanders now has creature tokens you control get +2/+2. So now your creature tokens are getting +4/+4 if you've got both of your commanders out.
And Tavern Brawler exiles top 2.
Right.
That's
so
sweet.
Even if you've got, so you're doubling up with that.
That makes my second favorite even more exciting too. Master Chef. It's 2 and a green, but it says commander creatures you own have this creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. That's pretty cool. Gets around things like Heartless Act, whatever. But also, big +1 things, especially in green. Fantastic. And other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them. So if you've got for whatever reason 2 commanders and this in your 99, it's just great because now your non-commander creatures are going to come in with 2.
Sure, and if you play this before you play your commanders, the first commander comes in with a +1/+1 counter. Or no, it doesn't.
As the first part is this creature enters with an additional +1/+1.
Right, so the second commander is going to come in and get 2 +1s because he's getting the +1 from the first commander, and it's getting a +1 because it is a commander itself.
It's brilliant.
And then all of your creatures after that are going to come in with 2 +1/+1 counters, at least as long as you can keep both of your commanders out. Now, I mean, that's a tall ask.
Yeah.
You've got 2 commanders and a background, and you're trying to keep them all in play long enough to give a couple of +1/+1 counters to your creatures. That can get a little tricky.
I think they're perfectly unoptimized for my play.
Right.
I think they're fantastic, and I'm going to try to slot them in where I can until something tells me otherwise. I mean,
and I like a deck that asks you to jump through hoops to get to a result that isn't necessarily a game-winning result, but it's solid.
I just think that even like Raised by Giants, just the sheer like utility of having a 10/10 as your commander come in and it's a 10/10 is like I feel like it's got more than just the attack.
If you're playing green, 10/10, you'll probably have an easy way to get a +1/+1 counter onto your commander. Now you just need to hit twice.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to is...
It's easy to give this thing trample. It's easy to give this thing even, like, I've slotted this both into both my Gruul and my Jund deck.
Right.
It's easy to give them both trample, double strike.
Right.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's, too much to ask. I don't think it's like this crazy Christmas land. I think it's just, a single card in addition to your commander.
Right.
It's a nice little benefit.
Right. And, I mean, we're still talking about this as though it is not in the command zone. We're just treating these as part of the 99.
Yeah.
So it isn't as though we're saying, oh, Raised by Giants. Okay, so what are the commanders that we can run with this? We're not looking at that. We're looking at it as an enchantment.
Yeah.
Period. It's part of your 99. Is this worth running? And I mean, sure, there are going to be scenarios where they're not, because some of these cards are not particularly overpowered, but there are times when it is worth running. Why not?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wanted to gush about it for a bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have yet to draw one and play it, but the utility and the possibility feels there.
Nice.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with whatever Bruce decides to talk about. Meanwhile, stay chill. Especially where it's mid-July. It's hot out. Drink some. Stay hydrated. Play some Magic. Send us your best Magic story of the past couple months. And as always, thank you so much for listening. We are Temple of False Pod, where our decks are not optimized, but our plays sure as heck are fun. I'm Andy.
I am the background for this episode, also known as Bruce.
Thank you for listening. May your fifth land be the Temple.
Bye!
Wait. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. You can reach out to us via email at falsepodmtg@gmail.com or on Twitter @falsepodmtg. Bruce is @manaburned, and I'm @AndyWeekend, though you'll definitely notice I use the podcast Twitter far more often. Now that we've got you here, make sure you subscribe, rate us on whatever podcast platform you use. It helps us out. It gets us more reach. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Like a video there. Leave some comments for more casual enjoyment. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with some more timeless discussions about all things casual. So come hang out, and may your fifth land be the Temple. Bye-bye. Should I do my best, Bruce?
Bye!